Did you see that Juvenile has a new CD out?
No, I did not. Oh my gosh.
Yay! Yeah, girl.
I did when I
Right.
found when I saw that him and Megan finally linked up for her to, for her remix to the version. I was just so, what the church people say, godly proud.
So
I
that's
just was
not a
like,
remix. No, it's a whole different
it's a
song.
whole difference. I just thought, yes,
Mhm.
these are the moments that we wait for. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then he said, "Thank God for Meg Thee Stallion."
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
Juvenile said. But the album's really nice. He got a song with his son on there, Young Juvie.
I
Like,
haven't. Oh, is that his son's name? How precious and fitting. I love that. Young Juvie. Period.
yeah,
Period.
yeah,
Love that for him.
yeah. That was good. It's good. I'll be listening to that for the next couple weeks.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm gonna have to check it out. Oops, net in here. Spring is here among us. It's a net in here.
Okay. Sorry. What are you navigating? I was too close to the mic and it's got fuzzies.
Girl, um, what am I navigating? Okay, wake up, Raven. So, I'm navigating the natural hair conversation that they're having on TikTok right now, and I mean, I'm navigating other things personally, but I want to talk about that really quickly because um I did a TikTok briefly about how we needed to have a more well-rounded. Let me give context. If you're unaware, there's a conversation going on TikTok right now about the natural hair community or the Black girls and their unwillingness or fear or fill in whatever adjective around not wearing their natural hair out. And when I stumbled upon the TikTok streets over that way in the neighborhood, I was like, whoa. And I was really intrigued. I think the original video was a girl who was basically, she was going off and she had all valid points. You can't do nothing but say ouch and amen, because she was spitting the facts
Mhm.
and making the case. I think she was referencing a video where a girl was still trying to glue her wig on, her lace front, with like raw edges. And I mean raw, like meaning like the skin was
Mhm.
down to the flesh. And she was like, "What's wrong? Like, y'all, wake up!" Like, and then she was just making the case, y'all don't even want to leave out the house without your natural hair. You've never seen it before. You rip out your natural hair while finely and delicately taking care of the weave and the wigs and all of that. And then she was talking through the discourse around natural hair is just harder to do and it's so time consuming and other things, and just trying to debunk that and just say how silly that is. And she was referencing, and I just want to lay them all out because she was making some valid points. She was referencing how little girls and children in the Middle East and or Eastern countries in general are having to die and having to sacrifice their hair and their quality of life and quality of what they feel like are beautiful or is beauty to them for our convenience and insecurities. And, just going on, and I'm probably butchering it,
Mhm.
you know, and not doing her arguments justice, but I'm trying to give a general overview. But anyway, girl, child, made valid points, and so it really had me stirred. It had me shooketh. Not because this is new to us. If you watch our pod, we've talked about this extensively, but I love when the girls resurge this conversation. And I think in every generation, we need to have a resurgence of it because, child, white supremacy did a number on us. And so at every turn, we can, take back our power and really engage with it in a serious way in the ways that we were colonized. Let's do it. But it was also pricking, and it kind of irritated me a little bit watching people's responses to it because people were being a little mean and not thoughtful.
Mhm.
And I'm like, if you're gonna have this conversation, daughters, nieces, sisters, have it in context of all the history and not just another way that we can rag on and crap on Black women because you're not doing anything to help. This
Right.
is a deeply psychological, tormenting element of our culture that nobody asked to be in, yet we were all thrust into.
Yeah.
Girls across Jamaica, London, Africa, every Black girl on this planet has been touched by colonization and the idea that white is right. So this got more to do with you trying to score a point on TikTok on the Black girls.
Mhm.
So anyway, yeah, I just want us to have it in full context and conversation of history. But it's been striking me, and I loved it. Today I saw one and I almost got a little emotional because I'm talking about young girls are literally like, okay, I'm trying it. What y'all think I should do? I'm scared. And like the girl is, you know how TikTok can be. It can be a
Give me
cesspool, but
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it can be beautiful, and I've been in these comment sections like, "Dang, the girlies are really like the girlies are doing it," and I love it, so
Yeah. While you was talking, I was thinking, I was singing, Mascara in my head. Yeah, my hair in my fade, but so what? I get my rent paid with my I can't pronounce right. See? Like, that's an example of a conversation, like, we have to have when it comes to, like, I'm trying to survive capitalism, like, I'm navigating beauty politics, and this wig is getting my bills paid. This is
it's
so
so
I
funny.
really need to
That's
have
what I was about to say. She said, "It's right." He said he keep it coming if I keep my body white.
That is not what he said. That's not
No,
what
it's
she said.
no, of course not, but I'm saying
I was like, "Wait a second."
not too much on my girl. Of course she didn't say that. Jasmine Sullivan did not say that. I'm
Right,
saying when you think about it,
right.
like artificiality, superficiality, long, if I keep everything white, more and more white, I get to get some of the perks that the
Mhm.
white girls get in full. The white girls get it in full, but we all just kind of like are like, woo, woo, woo. Anyway, that's not the topic
Yeah.
today.
It's not the topic today, but if y'all wanna talk about true womanhood and the things that we have to do to in order to embrace get the things that white women get just based on the fact that they are true women, period, versus us having to work to get the status of true womanhood, we gotta keep our bodies right. We gotta succumb to different things, and that's the conversation. And if you're not willing to have the conversation, like Raven said, be quiet because there isn't there is there are so many things attached to our bodies that assault us that are, like, stuck to us because of, colonialism and because of slavery that we cannot escape just simply being Black women.
Yep. And the final thing I'll add there is that doesn't mean that we don't need to have conversations around health, wellness, and beauty that aren't necessarily centered around white women or whiteness and assimilating to whiteness,
Mhm.
and that are just associated with just wellness overall, and us pursuing our best selves. That doesn't mean that we don't need to have conversations around our own wellness. Um, I'm okay with that, but all I'm just saying is like wellness. I guess let me really be clear. Wellness doesn't belong to white women or whiteness. Let's be very clear. What I'm just saying is the ways that we have been told that it has to be and it does look and we have to perform it are white adjacent. That's
Mhm.
just an inextricably true fact. And so because of that, if you're going to have these conversations while also pursuing just a general wellness conversation, you can't leave this part out. If this part of the essay ain't in it, it's an automatic fail in my book. Like so
Yeah.
but I'm proud of us. Just so I don't put a pin on it that's negative. My pin on it would be, I'm proud, proud, proud of us. I'm godly proud. Girl, old women really used to say, like, you can't just say you got a little pride. Anyway, I'm godly proud of us for resurging this conversation in our own way and on our own element. And to my little sisters who I'm seeing come up and being like, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do the difference. I believe the children are our future.
Yeah. This is my last point, I promise, I
No, I'm
promise.
good. I'm good.
Not the topic. I think, like, it just shows, like I think I said this a few episodes back, like, we are constantly like, when you choose to pick up an ethic of anything, you are choosing to put down something, and we know that if we wear our hair in a certain way, we're choosing a particular ethic and politic, and that might mean we have to give up depending on what space you're in, because you might be coming from an element of, like, natural hair is cool at my job. That might not fly at other people's jobs, and they might not have the, social, capital or the ability to just say, Imma just wear my natural hair and not and take all the consequences because I need this job.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Or
um,
go ahead.
no, that's all.
Now that we're saying it, this can just be a part of it. It's okay. It was just a segment. Because the other part to that is too, like, we can pretend all day long. We did an episode on this, but still, we can pretend all day long that the male gaze shouldn't be a part of this. And I'm not, and perhaps that is actually, you know what? I don't actually agree with this. I don't agree with that take that the male gaze, because I've heard a lot of those takes on TikTok, essentially that the male gaze shouldn't be a part of this. And the reason why a lot of the girls hasn't fully transitioned is because they're afraid of losing their proximity to Black men or to men in general liking them. But hear me out, because as we all know, this is a pro misandrous podcast, although we love men, like hyperbolic. But although we uphold that politic, or at a very minimum, don't deny that politic, or like shame that politic in people, if you're going to live in a world where people procreate and where humans thrive, a part of a thriving world is sex. And I don't just mean like sex, like whatever. I mean, literally humans coming together and having sex and showing romantic interest in people, like in one another, and becoming partnered and all the things. And so taking that element out of life is to literally strip us of a whole faction of something that is so natural to our inherent beings, regardless of the politics and the dynamics of dating and how trash they may or may not be. What I'm saying is to say that y'all just are afraid to lose the object. Y'all are afraid to lose the gaze of a man and to not be attractive to a man. That's Yeah, they're girls who are attracted to men. Like, stop trying to act like that's not the flex that you think it is. You want them to like, yeah, I'm completely okay, completely by myself. And although this is a major part of my literal makeup and biological being, I don't need it. And I can turn it off because I love me.
Right.
You're not thinking. You're not thinking, daughter. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's what I'm navigating. What are you navigating?
Um, I'm navigating humble flex, just like being that girl off the internet. I'm tired though, but like,
Uh-huh.
I got a tattoo this week with my friend, and it's so freaking cute. I also feel like people really don't like big girls because I was like, didn't nobody say this tattoo was cute?
No, it's fire.
I was like, we have some haters. But anyway, not the point. I like the tattoo. Um, but she was like, Margaret, I feel like you be doing a lot. And I was like, oh, you see me. That's how I know you see me. Because if you didn't see me, you would be like, no, whatever. But I was like, girl, you like that's how I know you a friend because all my friends say that. Like I do a lot. And at the same time, I'm not gonna stop. I was gonna try. I did say, I was like, I'm gonna chill out. No, no. Like I see the fruits of it. Like, so I'm just like, I be doing a lot and I am tired. My feet hurt and all the things. And I do need to find balance in a way. But I'm just like, if the idea come to me, what am I supposed to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I say always say that I am realizing like I was like, but I also realize like how much of an anomaly it is to like do this stuff and do the most and like I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm gonna do this, but also like I was asked to be a keynote twice for the month, like for Sexual
Period.
Assault Awareness Month, and it's kind
Period.
of like you don't make waves, I guess, with doing the least. You got to do the most.
100%. Without
So
question. That's fire. You should insert a pic of your tat, first of all, like on that little part. But yeah, no, that's facts. So well-behaved women seldom make history. That is just, it's a cliche that is as true as tale as old as time.
yeah, yeah,
So, you know, it's interesting because this week I had to learn in some stuff in my apartment. I had to learn, like, not learn, but like finally, it was my final moment to finally solidify how much like nice girls finish last. Cut that out today, yesterday, the day before yesterday. Like, it's time to let that stuff go. So I am not playing. But anyway, in conjunction
no,
with what you're saying, yeah, show up louder and then louder and then louder and louder and some more.
yeah.
Like,
I yeah, I think I'm gonna try my hardest not to, like, continue to, like, cower, I guess. My, mentor was like, "Keep being extra." That's
very
all I
much.
needed was from you to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Because you think when your capacities diminish and you're older and you're more tired and you know that the end is coming near, you think you're gonna be like, I wish I would have did a few less things. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you're not. You're
Yeah.
gonna be like, man, and then that, and then that, and then that. When the steps get shorter, but the memories get longer,
Mhm.
you're gonna have all those long memories to circumvent those shorter steps, you know? Like, man, please. No, I'm in it all.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, like, I know that I'm also gifted, cause like, I'm also very much somebody that's like, "Oh, I can" literally, I'm at work creating a toolkit, bringing in Black feminist, framework and whatnot, and I'm just like, "This is exactly what I want to do," and I know this doesn't click for everybody, you know what I mean? Like, I know that I can just literally dictate something or, like, start typing and it just start flowing, um,
So true.
and, like, I know that it connects I can connect the dots, that's the point I'm making, and sometimes when I and it's like, "Oh, she's doing too much." It didn't take that much for me to do it, like, because I did spend my time, like, studying, like, um, and I think right now it's just, like, the labor, like,
Yeah.
um I went to school and I studied, just I studied,
Yeah.
and I learned to critical think, and when you critically you know how to critically think, you can, put the dots together a little faster and come up with a product and then be down. You be here we are. Anyway, I also say all that so I'm tired. Um
Yeah, that is the other part to it, that you just kinda, like, learn to just deal with. Just always a little tired, just always a little, but I wanna leave this earth tired, truly. Rested, but tired, like, or maybe a better way to say it is, like, spent. I wanna leave this planet spent.
Yeah,
All
I did
every
mhm,
dime was spent.
yeah.
Proverbial dime, of course, but yeah.
I did my thug thizzle, that's it, that's
I did the things, baby, I did all the things, like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Something else I'm navigating is I truly wanna be a grandmother. Like, something in me is like not I don't mean I need to physically have a grandchild,
yeah,
the nurturing part,
I get what you mean.
the carrying on, the tradition of carrying, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I just I was like, "Mommy, I just don't know what it is, I just feel like I need to feed people."
I love that. I love it. That's fire.
Uh, but, yeah, I don't know, like
I agree. I
yeah,
agree. I wanna be a mom, so let me cross that bridge first, but I do know what you mean, though. I know exactly what you mean, and you know what? Actually, similarly to what you were just saying, though, I wanna be a mom, and it don't even necessarily have to be like, would I want a biological kid? Yeah, of course, but also, I can't wait to just that's why even now I tried so hard to be like, "I want a mentee, I'm in a mentee, a mentee, mentee," like, I be trying to get some of it is just the girls just do not be wanting investment in the way that I be wanting to be really intimately tied into people's lives, not in like, oh, I hope that
mhm,
didn't sound weird, but I just mean genuinely, like, I be wanting to be invested and people our culture is just not structurally set up to where people seek that out, one, or feel naturally comfortable with it, like and it's not to say that we shouldn't try because I think we're still naturally inclined toward community, but I feel like there are so many more structural barriers now that make it a little bit harder than what it probably historically was. People don't be knowing how to be intimately tied to people, but nevertheless, yeah, I feel such an inclination to pour and to teach and to pour and to teach and to give and to offer and to show, you know what I mean? Or direct. So yeah, I feel
yeah.
that. I feel that.
When you were saying that, I was thinking, like, we don't have interpersonal skills, like,
No, no.
it's so hard to, like, show up in, like, relationship with people because we don't know how to say, "I'm sorry," we don't know how to say, like, "I
Yep,
messed up,"
yep,
and I think, like I think there's a level of perfection that we probably project onto each other that we want, and it's like, that's really not how relationships work, um, and we don't know how to like, people say, like, the stuff that's like, community is not convenient, et cetera, but it's like, yeah, on the surface, yeah, that's what we're saying, but in reality, what y'all are probably leaning more towards is like a restorative justice type of like understanding of community. And when you have that kind of understanding, somebody can cause you harm and still be in community with that person, but you have to be able to have the tough conversations or to be able to say to create real boundaries and even understanding what the heck a boundary is because I've realized what we say as a boundary is not actually a boundary so like knowing those like um those real interpersonal skills that, like, I think that hinders us from being able to be in relationship with people.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. And I feel that so palpably when I try and cultivate different things. Like, again, doesn't stop me. And I am still doing it. I'm actively like all the things, but sometimes I'm just like, it's called relationship. It's called
yeah.
relational dynamics. Oh, this isn't me being, this is me being like pursuing relationship, hun, or whatever. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, girlfriend, so anyway. No, I'm not kidding. Sometimes girls, I'll be like, it just, but you can tell, but again, rather than getting angry, because sometimes it can frustrate me, I just am like, all right, like if this feels abnormal to you, then golly, you must just be living in a loveless world. You know what I mean? Like, and I always go back to All About Love with Bell Hooks. We just really don't like girls be like, well, I'd be like, I just want to love you.
Here, please, lay in my bosom. Oh, that does sound weird. Just kidding.
Right, right. But even that, like again, obviously I get the point, but also it shouldn't sound that abnormal too, like especially in the ethic of a black woman,
Mhm.
like girl, no, a black woman's bosom is the safest place in the safest place. Okay, what?
Girl, that song got me through Algebra 1 in Lane College. Okay?
This girl, this
This
Morgan
is it on
is
repeat, okay? It's
in the
like
whole wide world. But
repeat.
wherever it may be. Well, Cameron, let me stop because I was about to be unproductive. Okay, clip. Insert
You're
clip,
singing
right?
the exact video that I'm singing, though. The original, like I'm gonna introduce my daughter. Her name is
Go, 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 go. Titi said.
my goodness.
Anyway, anyway, I am so far from this mic. I know this is not going to sound good in post production. Okay, we can insert the clip here.
That's what I'm navigating.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So,
What's on the agenda? Here on the What's on the Agenda podcast, we give space for the nuance. We want to talk through social issues that impact Black women socially, politically, financially, and all the illies. So, what's on the agenda?
girl, I was watching a video from our good sis Dominique Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
and she was essentially making the case that um she was talking about Meg. It was a video from like last year, but I was like, oh, this is still noteworthy for today. I can't necessarily talk about how necessarily, but I'm sure as we talk through it, we'll find some current things that make this relevant for today, even though it's a timeless thing to talk about. Whatever. Hmm?
Go ahead. I'll make it relevant.
Okay, cool. So Dominique was talking about how all of she was referencing when Meg first got with Klay Thompson, her new dude, right? And obviously, if you don't know, Klay Thompson is like the basketball player. His image. I don't know anything about his personal life whatsoever, but he gives off a very kind of nerdy adjacent, squeaky clean
Mm-hmm.
imagery that people typically, traditionally would make fun of, and more specifically wouldn't see someone like Meg the Stallion with, because obviously she gives more of that quote unquote hot girl energy, like unabashedly sexual, and outwardly sexual in her appeal or whatever. And Clay just seems like he would be with a quote unquote wholesome girl who doesn't do all those outwardly sexual expressions. Okay, I'm trying to be as coherent as possible because I be watching and I'm like, Raven, finish thoughts. So you'll see me practice more of like finishing thoughts, explaining things, giving context slowly because I watch and I critique. Okay. So anyway, with that though, like I said, Dominique was making the case that y'all thought that these images or these two people groups that would traditionally seem polarly opposite wouldn't do well with each other because y'all, and I think she was referencing women in some of the ways that we're socialized, and even society just socializes all of us, but particularly women. She was saying that women are socialized to believe that you have to play the part of the good girl, the wholesome girl, if you're going to get the long-term good guy, right? And men play into this stereotype too. Like we've seen all of the memes and GIFs about the good guy, the nerdy good guy in grade school and middle school and high school that couldn't get the girls, but then he grew up and became a cardiologist and he had all the fancy cars and now all the girls want him and they're fat and pregnant and ugly. And I believe it's literal memes like this. And then he now is like all buff and cool, and he's like, "Beat it, chick." I'm gonna find it and show it to you. It's so corny. So anyway, that imagery, a good guy only gets with the good girl, and the bad girls who are sexual and all this other stuff, they don't win in the end. The hoes don't win in the end. Um, yeah, that's a lie. And Dominique was essentially saying that, um, like, we've been sold that lie, and good girls actually don't necessarily finish. Good girls actually don't always just win the guy, and actually dudes be wanting hoes. And for context for the podcast, I will be using that term rather loosely. I'll try and find another one, but not in the traditional pejorative ways that we understand it, but for the sake of like descriptor and how we understand the image or the role. But I have no personal like attribution to that word whatsoever. I'm just saying it for the sake of conversation and context. So, argument is actually hoes do be winning. Wait, what's the song? I made a profile on Tinder.
Yeah.
Then she,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah, it's a whole
girl.
song about it. I just thought about it. But anyway, so I was like, let's talk about that because I have some thoughts. But okay, that's the
I
context.
have I literally wrote down Hoe the way Jasmine Sullivan writes down Hoe because when I think about Hoe, I think about the Hoe phase. When I think about Hoe phase, I think about autonomous, I think about formative, and how these women like Meg the Stallion hoes
Mm-hmm.
and genuinely like um you can be a hoe. Oh, am I like you can be a hoe like regardless, you know what I mean? Like you've gone through the phase of like figuring out who you are and your autonomy, your boundaries, and like what you want. And if you listen to Meg Thee Stallion's lyrics, that's what they have a problem with majority of the time is that she is very autonomous in the way she speaks about her sexuality and the way that she speaks about she I know there's I know there is backlash on like the I'm sure there are more conservative takes on like she shouldn't say X, Y, and Z about whatever, but um she is very much so like in control of I don't want no kids, so I swallow basically like I tell him where to put his semen because I don't want no kids right now. So when I'm thinking about hoe, I'm thinking about like an autonomous woman, a woman who is saying what she wants, when she wants it, how she wants it, and you don't go through that playing by the rules of like what the good girl is told to do, and like and when I say good girl, like how we are told to grow
Mm-hmm.
into womanhood. You learn that by bending the rules and creating your own rules. Um, so the I guess the what I would add to you saying whole in this conversation is that um um and you were asking like why is it still relevant? I would say or how is it relevant? I would say it's still relevant because they still together and she's still talking about taking everybody's daddy. Like like and in this conversation also is like class and dating as well. Like Meg Thee Stallion is I would classify again one as a whole, two as a woman who was raised. I don't feel like she mentions her dad, but raised by her mother and her grandmother. Clay Thompson, whoever Clay. He has a two-parent household. He looked like he went to debutantes. He might not have, but he looked like he had a middle class lifestyle. And Meg Thee Stallion does not look like that. So you have I've the more I've started realizing like class and dating, I'm like really like looking at this even like in some of the um um friends I went to college with. I'm like, oh, that's why they still single because they're looking for the exact right person. Because when you think about class and dating, they are trying to create legacy still, and that legacy comes through the woman that you choose to partner with and they're looking for the good girl. And then we have these conversations about like I was talking to somebody yesterday about she she asked us the question of like she's dating this guy and he was basically saying that like a prominent motivational speaker talking about a prominent motivational speaker and his wife should teach a class on how to be a good wife and she's like well that's not going to work because there are so many like and my argument was she'll teach you how to be a good wife to her husband, because we look at dating and we think about these gender binaries and roles, and like we're not considering all the things that make up a relationship. So I was going where I was going with that was people are getting into relationships, the middle class man, the middle class woman, they're looking for the person to complete their legacy, whatever, build a world, and they in relationship they unhappy with. And so to Dominique Morgan's point of men actually want the hoe, but they have been told we have been told to be the good girl, and they have been told to go after the good girl. Those are my opening
No, one
thoughts.
wonderful kind of pin to the opening and to the introduction because wonderful, wonderful. Because especially that last part, th- I think it will be a lot less cheating in marriages, and maybe even a lot. I can't. This is all anecdotal, but I could imagine there would be a lot less cheating and unhappy marriages if people were freely allowed to marry the people that they wanted, rather than the people that their social settings told them would be
Mm,
most appropriate.
yeah.
There's that. There's that. But anyway, okay, so on that note, then let's keep expounding this conversation. Two things. I'm going to say this high level because I think the parts that we need to address quickly to really expand this conversation need to get to it. Hold on. Actually, I forgot that first one, so I'll just skip it and then it will come back to it because I'm sure it'll hit my mind. I want to have this conversation with young women in mind
Mhm.
because I think we internet brilliant girls like ourselves um we have these conversations with ourselves in mind, and I'm okay with that completely, but forgetting how hard it was to be a young girl who I just remember my first part now I'm saying this, to be a young girl navigating a young person in general navigating dating young boys,
Mhm.
and like the complexities and the confusion of that and the pressures of that. And then with everything happening right now, like the culture is just completely shifted, like in terms of like sensibilities and how aggression, all of it, right? So anyway, there are some elements to this conversation that look different for young women than for young people. Like, but right now I'm talking about young girls specifically. I'll just be really honest. I'm talking about young girls because I'm thinking about. Let me tell you what I'm thinking about.
When you say young, what age group?
For sure, for sure. Puberty on up, puberty to 18, puberty to 18, 19, whatever. Puberty 22, 21, 22, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Not subjecting ourselves to whatever men say or don't say is what's appropriate and how we should engage is really important because men do what they end up wanting to do. And we're the ones that are sold and told these narratives of what we should and shouldn't do that only leave us on the back end or on the back foot being manipulated and abused in relationships, and also left pitiless when we went in with like this rosy Cinderella-esque sort of mentality about relationships. So do I think we need to be the arbiters of our own story and how we show up in relationships, and our sexual autonomy needs to be ours, all of that without question. And also, I wonder what it looks like for a young girl to hear what we're saying, adopt that as well, meaning adopting, meaning not putting boys at the center of however they move or think or engage with dating, but only adopt, the ethic of you do what feels good to you and what feels right to you. How do we encourage them to adopt that while also letting them know that like I don't know, help me out. I don't, cuz I had it when you were talking, but I was trying to listen to you and think, so then I lost it. Um
Is it a question of like safety
yes.
or
Yeah.
um
Safety and like not a pass for reckless sexual
yes, okay,
behaviors.
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, okay. So I was writing down like whole lessons, but just like sex education, like there's age appropriateness, right? So, um the reason why one, it's important for young girls because like the good girl, if the and we're very much in a binary right now, not any gray. If the good girl is saying like, um, if the good girl is the one who's being told like take take what you know, don't ruffle feathers, and I think that's one of the lessons of, like, being a whole or being autonomous, and thinking about, like, how do we do this without them being reckless is not the first lesson of, like, being autonomous is to go out and just have sex with who you want to. It is you learning how to use your voice. The first line of self-defense is, like, your no, and, like, using your actual voice to say no.
Yeah.
So, there are steps before we get to
I love it. I love it.
us us,
Tearing it.
yes,
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
steps before we get to someone who is rapping about their sexual endeavors in, um, in public.
I
There's
love it. I love it. Putting it in tears, Tier. Yes, 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 yes. So, like, yeah, that is peak sexual autonomy and actualization of self. But even in the hierarchy of how to become self-actualized, there are like 5 tiers before you get to the space of self-actualization. And if you haven't done those, if you can't sufficiently provide for yourself, if you can't sufficiently ingratiate yourself in a community and speak up for yourself and know what you contribute, like, you can't even get to full self-actualization. So in terms of the sexual sex world, right? Or your yeah, sensuality and pleasure, you can't get to peak sensuality, pleasure, and seeking after all of that until you have chartered through all of the elements of what it is to create a whole person, daughter. Oh, perfect. 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 Tearing it. I love that.
okay, yeah, okay, so yeah, when I was thinking about so I think I was hearing, the fear of, like, "Well, just be sexual autonomous and blah, 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 and just do the thing." I don't like, sexual autonomy to me is not having multiple partners. It's not
Right.
being responsible. It is about the journey of actualization.
Mhm.
And I don't want the context of how we're saying, or even how I define whole, to be, like, conflated with how whole is often,
Yes.
because hoe is often used in our society as, like, the promiscuous girl, maybe a little reckless, um, no, real, like, just having sex because they having sex, right? The a fully realized sexual being has gone through the work of, what do I like? What do I not like? And being able to create and set those boundaries, which is sex education. Like, being able to have the conversations of, like, what is STI testing? What does that look like for you? Like, those are conversations that are on this process of the journey of being a hoe.
If anything, and something you just said just struck me. If anything, sexual autonomy is actually saying no.
Yes.
Sexual autonomy is and like is I know that's the obvious one, but because I'm saying that to say is because even my brain and my brain only hears those words through the lens of how men have shaped it, which is
Mhm.
like sexual liberation means sex, hoes, and you just being sexual, overly sexual. No, sexual liberation is saying, even when I'm on that day and he like, give me a kiss, and you like, yeah, because everybody has kissed a man that they don't want. Okay, you're talking for yourself. But every girl that I've ever talked to has kissed a boy knowing that they didn't want to be, but you just be like, okay, ready to walk away. Every girl I know has done that. But sexual liberation says, no, I'm so sexually liberated that I literally only do what I want to do. Period. Like, yeah. And so even that, and I guess in all of that, I'm saying we even need to take that turn back. And I guess that's what the girlies have done. But now I'm loving that WOTA gets to induce publicly, hopefully. And I'm sure as many scholars, many girlies who are already in this space, but I'm just talking hyperbolically tonight. Like, if this is your first time hearing this, induce the element of freedom and a self-actualized woman into the definition of sexual liberation, and strip it of all of the nonsense propaganda that men try to put into it to make you feel bad and guilty and do more sexual favors for them.
Right. And
Mhm.
I when you had said, like, sexual liberation means being able to say no, it's also like, when you go through this journey of, like, journeying, not everybody is sexual. Like, like, some people
Good.
are the A in the LGBTQIA. Like,
That's
some people are
good.
asexual, and
That's
and
true.
because you've been sold a script of, like, this is how I'm supposed to perform as a man, a woman, a non-binary person, you're like, "Actually, no, I thought I was weird, but no, I actually don't like sex in this particular way. I don't like
So
sex in this
good.
way. Or at all. I don't like pleasure in this way. Like, you start to be able to figure out the little intricacies and nuances of your particular lived experience and like your and how you want to shape your own sexuality. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Okay, so that was I wanted to get the little girls out the way actually. So, y'all heard that? That's the
I'm not
disclaimer. Get out the
advocating
door.
for irresponsibility.
There you go. No, I'm happy I couldn't think of it because now I remember my point, my first one. But I,
Mhm.
I did want to leave that. I wanted to just put that out there because and the reason why is because I heard a girl on TikTok the other day. I was like, yeah, when I do make TikToks and stuff or just talk in public discourse, I think about 30s, 40s, 20s even, but you know what I mean? And I just forget that young people exist. And even in that, we got to stop doing that. Not just us. I'm talking about in general, like young people, we are in a shared like collaborative space now because of the internet. And so we have to really be mindful of young people and what they hear. And when we have our public discourse, we can have it in terms of adults, but we just have to do it with the thought that like young people are actual listeners in the same spaces now. So anyway, okay, them to the side. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, like from the self-actualized version of this conversation. Oh,
Come on over, baby. Get over here. It's freeing. You know what I had thought about the other day? Come on. Listen, I learned how to twerk last night. Okay, I hope my mom was not watching. Uh,
is this gonna be our sex episode?
Huh? Oh my gosh. So I was like, y'all think Jesus is liberating before you get deconstructed? Get deconstructed. You'll be like, oh my God, it's so freeing over here. Yeah. No, the deconstructed Jesus is actually the Jesus you're looking for. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Baby, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just giving ad libs. That's
Yeah, I'm
all.
just saying, like you saying, you think get free, sister, get free, daughter, get free.
What you say?
No, get free. When you get free, like you are like free. Like liberation is like oh, that's a thing, y'all. Like
Yeah.
y'all think that look, y'all you think your worship good now. Get free of the constructs and the
No
ism.
more shackles, no more chains, no more bondage.
Come on.
Come
Let
on,
that
Kira.
sexism roll off for you. And the patriarchy roll off for you.
Like the doing.
Girl. Did you go to
I'm
church
through, I'm
today?
through, I'm through, I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. But no, she's so right, guys. Seriously, because I don't even no, I do know where I'm going with this. When I heard so circling back to the intro, when I heard Dominique talking about it, I have already been on this journey. Yeah, we talk about it a million times. If you're an avid watcher of the pod, you know that you know some of the journey or trajectory I've been on in terms of like sexual liberation and understanding about sex and all of that, especially in partnership with my faith. But hearing Dominique say it just illuminated so many more thoughts within me about how in bondage I was in terms of not thinking I can be sexual. And when
Yeah.
I say sexual in this context, not meaning like sex, I mean like literally like not meaning that just the act of sex. I mean like even looking too sexy or being too sexual, like acting like a hoe and being like a hoe and thinking doing stuff like a hoe and letting men see that you do hoe stuff. Like girl, girl, men this is the part that I wanted to get to. So Dominique was making the point, and this is what I've come to see as a therapist that we don't know the depths of depravity that exists within me. And let me not call it well, no, I can. Some of it is depravity and some of it is just they go to the depths of our primitive nature in terms of our biological makeup because we're primitive creatures, right? So like at our core, we're animals, right? We have reason and consciousness that separates us from animals, but ultimately like some of our sexual desires can get really primitive because we're primitive and based in a lot of ways, which is why you need a savior. Anyway, but I'm saying that to say, um, because of patriarchy, men have been told and sold this narrative, and we have too, that they have to almost kind of act and pretend to be this Superman like caricature or character. And so they put on this front while having these deep, dark, secret held on to as tightly as ever ideas in their mind and inclinations in their mind toward all kind of manner of stuff. And rather than engaging with it and grappling with it out in the air and giving it open space to just be like, okay, you have these sorts of interests. Talk to me about that. They feel ashamed of it because they think they're supposed to be the good, upstanding man with whatever like they don't want to give in to those premonitions and those whatever, those urges. And so what then happens is the hoes, quote unquote, or even in this context, the trans girls, or even sometimes like our gay brothers and sisters become victims of men's secret dual versions, right? Those urges that they can't say out loud and give breath and life to because patriarchy has told them that get you a good girl and be the good boy. But guess what? It can never, when you feed that appetite in a secret way, it becomes insatiable and it'll never be able to be fully satisfied and fulfilled. And so then they just live in this dual lying life. And so anyway, sorry, that's a long pivot. My point in saying that though is, so then the good girls, you sold this story of like, just go get you a good, you be good and he gonna pick you up, girl. Yeah, he pick you up all right. And you're gonna be joined right in that bag with all all the stuff in his little bag of tricks that you ain't know about because you were told to be good. We don't know. And that's what Dominique was saying. We don't know. I do. Cause I didn't seen the depths of men now. But girl, girl, ask your nigga what kind of stuff he like. For real, for real. With filters off, with the blur off. And see, and if he has the courage to actually go there, ask a man. I'm gonna leave it there because the girl's not really ready for the kind of stuff that men would be willing to do if you really, really ask them. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say as simple as like you talking about the depths. I'm thinking about even just the surface of like sex positions and like how men, especially in the church, have been told like missionary is it, right? I remember a prominent um woman and male Christian I don't preachers, not philosophers, preachers or influencers or whatever, publicly was talking about we don't give each other um fellatio. Is it fellatio?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's where P comes out of. They were publicly saying this, right? And that's something that's talked about in an everyday song. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like when you are boxed in so much so to this one idea of what sex is supposed to look like, then like you were saying, you go and they become an outlet. They go find their outlet with the hoes. And then I was also thinking about like even like the way I was talking to I don't want to get to what I was going to say to this was even to the depths of like not being able to fulfill their quote unquote fantasies with black women and being able to seek that out in quote unquote white women and like even how that shows up um and this is so like apropos from actually my mug tying it back to the conversation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what was I saying?
Um okay, I
What are we talking
I
about?
was thinking about when we suppress our like sexual desire so much because of what society says, it leaves us literally suppressed. And like I was like literally crying last week about not being normal. And I was like, why can't I be like normal? Like I don't like it. And I was like, then I started to like think about it. I was like, oh, this is how people live sexually repressed lives. Like and we would much rather have that life of let's like not going against the grain and being like repressed than to like use your autonomy, use your, but also we live in a world where we are also navigating all these isms that is just like, yeah, it's not that easy to just be like all out and proud and loud and all the things. But then I found this cup. It's Walmart. That says normal gets you nowhere. So little reminder. But I was just thinking about that even with men. They are also living very repressed lives.
Oh,
As they can't even say like just thinking about the Christian couple. Girl, if you don't slop on my knob like corn on the cob, check in with me and do the job late in that. Like, he can't even say that to his wife. Like,
mm-mm.
because we've been sold ideas of what sex is supposed to look like. And people be unhappy, y'all. People be unhappy.
It's so interesting because my thoughts are so everywhere. Let me say the first one first. I do think that there are elements of self-control that has to be implemented when we're talking about sexual conversation and sexual appetites because again going back to my original point about how primitive we are, meaning humans, I think what you feed will grow. I just think which is why when people say sexuality is on a spectrum, like I used to be like, oh my God, but I actually believe that because I do believe that like what you feed and what your sexual appetite it's animalistic. It just is, right? That's the same reason why like when you watch pornography or when you watch something sexual while you're horny and while you're heightened, it feels like, oh, the best thing ever. And then when you're not in that space, right? When you're back to your rational, your what's it called? The ego and the superego, Freud, right? When you're back to that portion of yourself, it's like, oh my God, because we really are like these evolved primitive beings, oxymoronic. Anyway, but so I'm saying that to say there has to be elements of self-control in these conversations for the sake of continuity and progress and all the things. Um,
I have
and for
something.
us to functionally exist together. What'd you say?
I have something to that, but you can keep going. I'll write it down.
Okay, gotcha. But that was just my point to then now add that but I think the way that what that looks like practically is being honest and open about desires. So, and let me give a real practical example of how I used or how I make me and be honest, right? I don't play. Matter of fact, the way I present it, I'm always like, I don't do it in a I guess I'm giving my secret away, but I'm always just like, so what's your deepest fantasy? Like, and dudes used to be like, oh, what you mean? Don't let them off the hook. Don't, or
Right.
anybody, men or women, this could be universally applied. Don't let them off the hook. Like, go there. Don't let them, because what happens is because it's taboo, social norms make us not want to go to those spaces, but like force people to go to those, not well, within consensual context. Obviously, we're talking about in a consensual context where both people want to talk about it. And it's
Enough to talk about.
there you go. There you go. Let me be very clear with my language.
Probably sounds really problematic, actually. Um,
Oh, yeah. In a loving consensual relationship where perhaps you guys have already decided that you're having sex or you guys are actively having sex, make like talk to your partner about their sexual desires
mhm,
and make it like cultivate you both collaboratively cultivate an environment that makes it comfortable to be as open as possible, because when you take down those barriers and those guards and make people remind people that this isn't a place where you'll be judged.
mhm.
Now, if there are things that they come up with or say that make you uncomfortable, that's a part of that self-actualization and liberation or liberatory element to sex that we were just talking about. If they say things that make you uncomfortable, then that's the latter part of that conversation. But what I'm saying is we have to move past discomfort or shock around what people's sexual appetites are. Again, we're animals,
Right.
saved by the grace of God without question, but we're still animals nonetheless. And I think the sooner we grapple with our makeup in that regard, the easier it'll be for us to progress the quality of our relationships. Does that make sense? Hey, WOTA fam. Thank you so much for listening to our pod each week.
As we're continuing to grow, we would love if you would give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you are listening to us on.
And make sure you're subscribed on all the platforms you listen to us on.
And comment on our page. We would love to shout you out.
Now, enjoy the rest of the pod.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think with the self-control, like the self-control, I don't think comes without the self-control comes more with the self-actualization, like once you get to the peak, maybe. And I don't know all the steps of self-actualization, but I'm just thinking about the
I can see
process.
that though.
Like,
Mhm.
um, because like you have to ask the questions of like, why am I even having sex? Or like, why do I even want this? Why do I even want to have sex with this person? Because like the thing I think about all the time is like, there's a concept of like dating goals, and it's like if your goal is to be, you just want to casually have sex. Why are you having sex with somebody who wants to like is actively looking for a husband or actively looking for a wife, right? Or a spouse. Why are you? That doesn't match. So y'all
Right.
need to part ways. But when we let the ego go away, well, I want to have sex with her, sex with them because they fine. You know what I'm saying? But the
Like your character has to come into play.
yeah,
Mhm.
um the self-control part comes into this is not what I like. And I think some of the part of like getting to that portion or this is not what I want in this moment in my life. And some of that is getting to a point where it's like you're going through in sexual education work is like red light, green light, yellow light, and you're figuring out what am I comfortable with and what am I not. red, I'm completely uncomfortable, green, I'm completely comfortable, yellow, I don't know. I'm willing to try. And some of that stuff might shift around, but you have to try it out and figure it out. But I also hear you very loud and clear when we say like the level of self-control. There has to be a level of self-control when it comes to like us and our sexual desires and stuff. And I'm wondering if there is a if it if it's in tandem with like the discovery portion of like
Absolutely.
you learn the self-control when you as you are. And I think the discovery is not even just sexual acts. I think the discovery is like just discovering who you are and
Right. Mhm.
again like figuring out what it is that you want, because again if you are your sexual if your sexual dating goals is I know that I'm trying to get pregnant and and I actually don't want to be in a relationship with somebody. That's your goal, right? And if
Exactly.
you are looking for somebody, you're in talks with somebody who is that's not their goal, the discovery has happened and that's what you want and you need to go because the self-control is being able to say you're not it for me. We can keep going.
Yep. Yep. No, I couldn't have said it better. And I agree. I think you're spot on in saying that. I think the self-actualization part will kind of induce levels of self, or should
Good, right.
induce levels of self-control, because yeah, because what you were essentially saying is like your character will prevent you from making sexually immoral decisions, right? When you've invested in your character, right, right. When and if, or even other things, your convictions, um, will prevent you from making poor sexual decisions that could potentially put you or somebody else in harm's way. Like, so yeah, like when you become more self-actualized and recognize that like these are the things that are beneficial to me. These are the things I engage in for the sake of my progress and for the sake of my wholeness and wellness. Then that naturally should emanate into your choices in all capacities, but particularly your sexual choices, right? And so, right, like sexual choices will obviously be a part of that. So yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And I appreciate that, because I love how it keeps all centering back into, oh, yeah. I love how it all keeps centering back into knowing oneself, right? And becoming the best, highest, most actualized version of oneself. And because the way I'm hearing it now in my brain is like, you want to have a good sex life? Become a whole, healthy, self-actualized version of yourself. And the reason why this is so critical in women's arenas,
Come on, come on.
you feel me coming? You feel me pushing?
I hear you. Come on.
Is because historically, and I know that right now I'm specifically using the gender binary for a reason, because of history, not because I'm trying to be exclusionary in language, but because historically everything we've been taught about sex in terms of the woman's quote unquote role within it is reductive, suppressive, repressive rather, um, um, and just completely strips her of all autonomy and thought and hell, pleasure and contribution to it whatsoever. You are supposed to, and I'm in all air quotes, as a woman, historically, traditionally, you're supposed to lay there and be this hypersexual object with this man, but also have never had real experiences before at the same time. Wait, what? Wait, what? I'm supposed to drop it low, spread it wide, and be the freak of the week to keep your man satisfied, but also have not had sex a whole bunch before either, and also have not had a whole bunch of partners. Wait,
Yeah.
what? Wait, what? It don't make sense. So this is why when we say sexual liberation, it means an autonomy. It means a version of yourself that is completely untethered from the noise and the stereotypes and all of the you supposed tos. And it's a version of you that is completely in tuned and attuned to what makes you feel good, baby girl.
Come on, you tipping on Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde, y'all gotta read yourself the erotic. Of course, women so empowered are dangerous. So we are taught to separate the erotic demand from the most viral areas of our lives other than sex. She defines erotic as the most creative and feminine like part of our lives. It's not sex. It's not the pornographic, she says. But even to get to a point where we are that dangerous part, when you are self-actualized and you untether yourself from like Raven was saying that the binary, we untether yourself from the patriarchy and the standard and all the things, you become a threat to society, because women who are so dangerous, they are starting to um they live into what they want and they reject the things of society. And it goes also beyond, like, I can't stress enough that this conversation is not necessarily about sex. Like,
Mhm.
you learn how to um become an autonomous woman at work. You learn how to become an autonomous, you learn how you do boundaries in platonic relationships. You learn boundaries in you learn how to use your voice in conversation with other people, like before you get into the bedroom, right? So like I just want to stress that this conversation, you learn pleasure, or you should, or you could learn pleasure before you get into the bedroom. Like, when you start figuring out, oh, this makes me feel good, and like whatever that thing is for you. For me, it's, I be like, I drink my coffee, like this is how I want to feel. And when you realize like this is what pleasure is, you cannot allow yourself to accept anything lesser than that.
Mm.
And that is the problem that we see in hoes, quote
Right.
unquote hoes, in our society, is that they have said, "This is my standard, and I will not like accept lesser than that." And it
Mhm.
is beyond just like the sexual acts that happen, or the sexual they child, the people that were the people who make money in like kink spaces and whatnot, not necessarily even having sex with people.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
A different conversation though, but
That part. No, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I think, see, and then so the aspect, and we were talking about this in pre-production, the aspect of this conversation around the decentering men part, I am always, at first I was like, oh, I'm leery about saying that because it's nothing wrong with us having sexual attraction to a man and all these other things. Um, if that's what floats your boat, I want to be clear. But I think this is the part where it's an important aspect to this conversation, because it's essentially saying decentering man is not necessarily saying the person more than it is the ideology that men typically generally represent, which is like when we say decentering man, it's like decentering all of the elements of the man has to feel, the man says this about you and how you sexually engage, the man feels this about you and how you sexually engage. So as a result of this, now make your choice. No. No, we're saying decide what feels good, decide what sounds good, decide what smell, all the things, learn what pleasure feels like, and what it is to tap in, like practice pleasure. That's
yes.
what you're saying, that Audrey is saying. Practice pleasure and practice tapping into that space. But yeah, practicing pleasure. I love, that's what I gathered from what you're saying. So you really got me thinking in real time.
Yes. Come
You
on, I'm
practice,
doing my work.
yes, practice pleasure, because the more you practice anything, the more familiar you get with it. It's like almost kind of like when you ride the bike. When you first learn how to ride it, and you've like the first couple times you learned, it's still a little wobbly, but ultimately your body gets used to moving into the rhythm and into the balanced way that helps you to, like, your body becomes a cellular memory that your body houses and knows how to easily tap into more and more easily as or as you do it more. And so in the same way, like when you feel that discomfort because you've practiced it, when you feel that discomfort in sex, once
Right.
you've practiced pleasure for so long, you're like, that's not how I get there. Usually I get there by, and then I know what it felt like because I remember, oh, go back up, boy or whomever, right? Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Thinking about like the idea of decentering men, like I was talking to somebody earlier, like when you have children, I feel like you still have to have a level of F these kids. Take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Um and you have to have a level of like, you here for my pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times women are socialized to be in the bed for the man's pleasure or for somebody else's pleasure, like something is happening to me, versus I'm in control of like what is happening to me and what is happening in this room, right?
Mhm.
And a practice of decentering men is being able to say like, no, I'm also going to get the thing that I came here for, right? um dang it. Yeah, it's just having a level of like, F you. There, and that's what I was saying. When we saying decentering men, it's like you were saying, it's decentering the patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's decentering, like it's also decentering like literally how we think about our bodies and like our smell and like our the way our bodies look unput together outside of clothes, right? And like and again, when you start to realize this is this is who I am, and if this is not what you are down for, you can exit because we don't match. And I don't accept this in my loving bed. And I urge our listeners, there have been articles upon articles upon articles about and I have to become familiar so I can stop talking about this and not know the black feminist um uh scholarship around she's got to have it. But the one thing I do take from the Spike Lee
Wow.
joint is the loving bed, and she talks about like what happens in my loving bed. She only has sex in her loving bed. Like she only
Bed.
has sex in her bed. And I urge black women and the women who listen to our podcast to literally figure out like what are the rules of your loving bed? What are the things that you accept and what you don't accept? How is it that you engage in pleasure with people or without people? Like take the journey of like literally writing out your rules of the loving bed and how do you curate your space of pleasure?
Mm, I love that.
Clearly, I know the thing I love talking about.
And I just be soaking it in because this, like I always say, this your bag. Because I learn in real time, seriously. And now I'm like, let's go craft out my loving bed and
Yes.
figure out what that looks like. And it's so many other thoughts that I have that I want to share, but because of my role, I won't say them out loud. But because now I want to,
I could share an example of one of mine.
please.
But one of the like, even though I say like F these men and all the things, in my loving bed, I truly believe that everybody deserves pleasure and everybody should have pleasure in my loving bed. If you feel like in your loving bed, I'm the center of attention and that's it. That's it. Like, but we communicate, we talk about the things we like, we talk about the things we don't like. We honor those things in my loving bed. And yeah,
Yeah, no, no,
good time.
I don't. I, you know what's funny? It's because like,
Well, mama do not listen to this episode. Like,
wait, say it
my
again, say it
mama,
again, say it again.
I hope my mama don't listen to this episode.
I'm an inviter. Okay, why would you do that? I'm just saying. No, but what's interesting about this is that I hate my role because I want to say so much, but I'm not at liberty. But I will say, I, okay, I'll say it this way. Every day I'm just learning how much I was just wired, not wrong, but just not in this way. And I wish I would have been wired in this way because now I'm just thinking about all the ways that the way I've constructed my perspective of about being and how I engage with them, both sexually and non, is all just real one-dimensional, real transaction. Like I've even eliminated the okay, never mind. It's there's no way for me to do it without. I don't like it, and this conversation is compelling me to shift it. There it is. So yeah. I'm done. I'm done there. I'm done because I really got some thinking, and I'm gonna talk too much if I stay on here.
Yeah. Well, y'all, it's work. And also, this is really on my heart right now because I'm about to do a whole presentation on pleasure. So that's all. This is.
Don't we love our girl? My God,
It's okay.
I'm saying you a lot. It's never gonna get old to me. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. What's next? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching?
If you can't tell by now, we love media, but more specifically, we love using media as a means to cultivate conversations around Black women, the things surrounding us, our personal lives, and we live for a good Kiki child.
I'm listening to the new Juvenile album. I'm reading Uses of the Erotic. As I prepare for my things. So I'm just reading Uses of the Erotic. I'm reading a lot of Black feminist stuff right now because I'm also working on a toolkit for work and it's embedded in Black feminist theory. And I just love the work of Patricia Collins, Audre Lorde, and Bell Hooks.
God bless them, truly, God bless them. I don't know where I would be without them, honestly.
Man, man.
Lit world changers.
Mhm.
World changers.
Literally. And I also have to shout out, Stacey Floyd Thomas. She's a theologian, womanist theologian, and I was looking at, her epistemology work as well. Um, I love the work I'm doing so bad. Like, I like, I love Black feminist work because it can translate really into, like, changing our world, and, um,
I
I
love that.
really
Man, I love that for you. I really do. I love that. I love that. I'm saying that because I'm really like I've been contemplating not fully about like getting a job and not coming out of well, that's what I said, not coming out of practice. I'm going to always do practice because I love it. But, like I'm thinking about like a role, like I want to contribute to to an organization in some ways. I've been really thinking about it, and because of like all the various places that I've served in, I feel like I really have real potential to contribute something significant to an environment. I just don't know where and what. You know what I mean? So I love to hear you say that. Like, no, I'm having to grapple with things and study things in order to contribute to things in this way. I'm like, I want to contribute to an organization that way. And then I'd be thinking, or do I? Because I'm also like my autonomy and I got my freedom that is so wonderful. So that's the hard part about it. But anyway, love that though.
yeah. What are you, watching, listening to, reading?
Well, I just finished this book called a tr- what's it called? Oh, A Treatise of the Great Affection by Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan Edwards, Treatise of the Great Affections or something like that. Or Treatise of Religious Affections.
Is this for school?
Yes. And look, I had to write like a 7-page paper on him or on the book rather.
Wait a second.
And it was about like again, just the book and the premise of the book, argument of the book. And the whole time I was just like, because basically Jonathan Edwards really, really short. He was, the part of the Great Awakening when white Christians, and I'm using that specifically, European Christians were like, wait, it's not just about intellect. It's about like God moving on the inside of us and compelling us to cry and worship with our arms and our voices too. Literally, like that's the most simplified but absolutely academic, authentic way that I can put that. When the white people discovered the spirit. I'm not even kidding. And they call it the Great Awakening. And so throughout the paper, I'm just being cheeky. This has nothing to do with nothing, but I just want to share it. Throughout the paper, I was like, when European people discovered, because like we've been on that. When y'all in 19 yesterday, and 19 yesterday finally was like, oh, it's more than just thinking, but you can like feel God like on the inside part. That's literally what the Great Awakening is.
Yeah, so detached.
And then not only that, they had a whole this is so the treaties, all of that to say, the treaties of religious affections is he wrote the whole book to basically quell the arguments that they were having amongst each other about if it's really real, like if you crying and stuff in worship, is that really just emotionalism and you not really transformed? And it like they went through a whole era of disagreement, the whites, on should you feel God, should you not feel God? Again, I'm simplifying, but that's in essence what it was. And so he had to write a whole book to be like, you can feel him, but it also, the feelings are reflective of like, and so and I don't know how he gonna feel, but the whole time I was like, when white people was like, cause like, y'all ain't reinvent no wheel. Y'all just found out that your heart can do things beyond kill and pillage. Okay, no, you can't. Stop. Like, why you always take it too far? Anyway, anyway, no,
I
but
feel
do
like
you
every
know
episode we need like 50, 11 caveats. So I actually do do private practice with white people. It's the concept of whiteness, not the white
it's not,
people.
and no, can we please? That is so true. Like for real. Like if ever, because the thing is, we're going to get famous, we're going to get bigger, and I really do believe that. People gonna go back and be like, I
But I
cannot.
feel like you have to name a thing. Like it's the
You do.
concept of whiteness. And for
Yeah,
European
let's
people
be
to
clear. I'm
be like
not that shamed. Yeah, go
the
ahead. Go ahead.
discovered the spirit is like,
They literally a whole book. No, Morgan, it's a whole. You should just read the footnotes one day, or like the Spark Notes
oh
version.
my God. Okay.
Yeah.
That is literally a testament to the mind body disconnect. And we can that is also the argument of scholarship with purity culture, like that you're not getting no pleasure if you don't have a mind body connection. And we have been taught to cut that off.
Disconnect. Yeah.
That's all. That's it. That's I'm done.
Well, no, and I think, yeah, and so when people talk about assimilation to whiteness and respectability politics, right? It's literally cutting off what we talked about last episode, like the version of you that is connected to the earth, that indigenous version of you, that makes you so like outwardly expressive. You know why you're outwardly expressive, you indigenous people? Because the earth is outwardly expressive. Look how beautiful a bed of lilies are. Look how bright, and you can't even look at the sky for more than a 0.2 seconds without literally burning your whatever, your retina. Like the planet is outwardly expressive, and you think you're supposed to be repressive and quiet and subdued. Are you okay? Are you okay? Like, they had to write a whole book. Literally, they were having you not really saved because you crying in church. Are we all okay? Like, literally, he had to like have whole segments where just like crying is a okay, okay. I like
We are emotional people.
every day I just be like, man. Mm. So anyway, that's what I was. That's what I am. Again, I have nothing fun on my agenda right now. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you at least listening to some good music? No. Okay. I will say, since I've gotten on social media, I have been tapped in on the music. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot there is music.
I love it. I love it.
Like,
Hold on, am I? No, nothing new. Yeah, no, I really ain't. I've been so, but also you know my situation, so I just been stressed. I've been dealing with so much. I have to literally be out by two. Oh, there's so much. So yeah, yeah.
um,
Go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say, guys, we should have said this at the beginning, but we will be changing our schedule. Again, because we're Black women with full lives, and you know, life be happening. Not that it's probably gonna do much of a difference in how busy we are, but we're gonna go to every other every other week. So don't think we forgot about y'all. It is purposeful. And when we can catch our breath, we will be back every week.
I knew it was the right thing to do when our off weeks felt a little like more. I was like, yeah,
What?
yeah. I'm like this, and I feel bad, but I'm like, this actually feels right, you know. So yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Every
we.
Go
Mhm.
ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and we at an hour 31 right now, so it proves that like we clearly, have plenty. When we save it up.
Yeah. I was gonna also say, when I was doing my I do too much spiel, I was thinking back to like a couple of episodes ago when I was like, if everything that could happen in a week did happen. And I was like, girl, this is actually just might be your life. Like, I had a baby on Monday. I had things to do the rest of the
How
week.
you said that?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, fair, fair.
that's what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. And honestly, with everything, like literally today, I mean, could I have not waited? Yes, but whatever, I did. Yeah, like I be trying every time I'm in school. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I could just because I'm so accustomed to the ragged life, but it's like,
Just out here raggedy. For
yeah,
this
but it's like
for this
sometimes it's just. I mean, that's just a lot. It's okay to just be like,
Yeah.
well, this is just a lot, and so it is. Like it really is a lot, and what I be discounting sometimes that I need to stop is the personal element of like this fast paced life because I be all I think about it through the lens of is, do I have the capacity for it? Do I have the capacity for it? Not completely discounting like what is my emotional state? What is my mental state? And like with everything that I've been going through, I really have been going through and like I just been like cuz I'm so used to just not being all the way okay or not all the way well. And like my friend sent me down and was like, "Baby, that's a really tough like you and they treating me like bad. Like it's just and I've just been like, I've really just been not a little bit okay. I don't even know how to say it completely. I really just I'm like, I just really been not a little bit okay. I've really and I'm not even kidding, it makes me uncomfortable. That's crazy. I've like largely not been okay.
Yeah.
Like and these people playing in my face. So that's why I put up a TikTok the other day. I was like, all that like I hate when people like I'm nice and people be not nice to it. And I'm like, wait, but I was nice.
Right.
I don't give a damn about that. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So
You are causing me to reflect though, because when you're like, "Do I have the capacity? Do I have the capacity?" It's like, yeah, I'll make the capacity.
yeah, I'll make
Like,
it.
I'm only operating at 80% of my capacity. I can take on 100%. And it's like, no, I don't know. I don't know what the opposite of that is though.
Yeah, no. Well, so I think what we were saying earlier can be still true so long as you have self-actualization, if so long as you have the ability to say, how am I feeling today? This is how I feel. And you're not afraid to say, I've been a little bit not okay, but just to actually say, like, I've been not okay. Cause I think that's where I'm still working at. Like my feelings were deeply, deeply hurt. I'm doing it in real time. My feelings were so deeply hurt and going through the stuff that I've been going through in my apartment and how my essentially the people, property managers, let's just call them, responded and they treated me poorly. And it's just really deeply hurt me. And I've never felt so disregarded.
Yeah.
And and so, yeah, like, I keep my capacity at peak for sure. And also, I know how to acknowledge when I'm not feeling well. And then now at this point, it's like, well, what will I do about it in this moment? Maybe not for all the moments, but for right now, what am I going to do about that too? Offer myself some recompense or some peace or some solace or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The main thing is don't be like us. Is what I'm hearing. And this is why people don't
It's
do the most. But no, I do hear you when you say like, yeah, I think the operating at full capacity or at, like whatever capacity, and then also having to deal with your own emotional like because when you take on
yeah.
all the things, you are taking it on thinking in the I will be well every step of the way of taking on whatever
Right. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
rather than
Discounting the fact that you
realizing
won't. Yeah.
yes, that you have a period every month and I'm not gonna feel like producing or like I'm tired, like, um, you take it on because like thinking like, "Yeah, if I have the energy, I can do all these things," but that's not the real
It's not the truth.
reality.
True. Mm-mm.
Ooh, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the whole time I was thinking about, like, people saying that, "You do a lot." I was like, "It's a sickness." What sickness it is, I don't know, but it's a sickness. It might be overcompensation, it might be the realities of living as a Black woman in America, whatever.
I
It
think it's
might be
all the above. All the above.
maybe ADHD, I don't know, it might be a
It's I think it's all of the above.
yes. It might be a lot. Yeah, it might be all those things, but I appreciate you saying that though, because that did make me realize, like, we say yes thinking that we're gonna be able to be 100% when we take these things on and not realizing that we're human and
It's not true. Right, right.
look.
Yep, yep.
I'm sorry they
Okay.
was
Why does all this matter to you?
because, um I'm not even gonna go the route of like, because we deserve it to be no, I think honestly, like, it matters deeply to me because I think about women who are, um, doing all that they can to be a good girl to get a husband and, um, or even keep a job or even have the perfect life or whatever, and they are unhappy and upset, whether they wanna admit it or not, about the fact that that didn't work out for me, and that's why I, dismantle my life away purity culture anyway because it stuff does not work for Black women, and you have all these Black women walking around deeply, troubled by the fact that I did the thing right. I am a good girl. The hoe got my man,
Who?
and he gonna get your man every time because that is not a negative, y'all, I promise it's not. The
Okay. This is a
woman
clip, so
who
keep it up because I'm making this a clip. Go ahead.
woman who is the sexually free and autonomous and know how to set boundaries is always gonna get the man because she gonna tell that man. Men, it's all over TikTok. Men love a strict woman. They love being told what to do. They don't want to admit it, but they love being told what to do. And if you are walking around allowing life to happen to you, allowing that man to, we talked about this. Like, when you choose to not use your voice and choose not to set the tone and set the boundaries for yourself, you are choosing to let a man do what they want to do to you. And in reality, you have the power to be able to say no, and I want my life to look like this. And that is why the hoe is going to get cuz the let that woman say she want the cookware set. The man going to get the cookware set. Let the woman say she wanna go on a trip. The man gonna tell her, "I wanna go on a trip." Men live to serve. They don't wanna admit it. The patriarchy says they don't. The patriarchy says that they live to lead.
Let the church say amen. That's it. I have nothing to add to that. I think, yeah, that is exactly why it matters. I ain't got nothing to say. That was beautiful.
I teach a class.
This is your class. You have set the girl straight. Family, we love you.
Did we do all our segments?